Spinny, 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 everyone. Welcome back to another Sprocketeer Masterclass. This is Sprocketeer, where we're championing the HubSpot superadmin. Our masterclass today is over Aircall. Now, before we get in, my name is Grant. I'm here in the Midwest in South Bend, Indiana, wearing a plaid shirt and a gray hat. Behind me, there is some comic book character memorabilia and a blue sign that says Sprocketeer. With us today, we have Jake Dagan.
Hi everyone, I'm Jake Dagan. I'm wearing a black shirt. I got a brick background here and some nice plants as well. I'm a senior channel partner manager at Aircall, and I am based in Brooklyn, New York.
Thanks for being here, Jake. We're here to talk
Thank you for
about
having me.
success and support phone best practices. Now,
Sure.
the question here, as you're listening, why are we talking about two use cases? What's the story here, Jake?
Well, you sure are. You're right. It's a great question. They are two use cases, but they both fundamentally are about taking care of your current customers. So we felt that there was going to be a lot of overlap here, and also Service Hub covers both. So
Right. Let's focus on active customers. You can call it semantically whatever you want. That's fine.
exactly,
So
post
there's kind
sale.
of, yeah, right. Post sale, active customers. There's two specific use cases: troubleshooting, support, renewal, and upsell. Uh, what are these sorts of things, Jake? How are we
Yes.
supposed to think about this?
So number one is going to be more the classic support use case. So technical troubleshooting, making sure that customers are able to effectively use your product and not running into roadblocks there. And the second one, more of a classic success use case, renewal and upsell, renewing contracts, expanding contracts, more the revenue side of taking care of active customers.
Okay, that makes sense. Situating this in a business setting, here's what you'll be doing. Okay.
Exactly.
All right. And this time of year we're talking about, it's the end of the year. Why is it more relevant for those listening to be talking about this specific topic?
Well, a few things. One, many of us are selling subscription products, and many of those products are renewed on December 31st or not renewed. Also, we are headed into an economic downturn, as everyone knows. And while everyone loves to talk about growth and new sales and demand gen all the time, it's tough to grow your way out of it in a downturn.
Right.
As we head into one, the importance of support and CX are, and those who do it really well, do both really well, are going to be the ones who make it through. And not only survive, but thrive as they maintain their active customer base.
That makes sense. They're there, maintain that base, love on them, and they'll pull you through, pull you out of this. Okay.
Exactly. And when I said everyone loves to talk about growth, new sales, and demand gen all the time instead of these topics, I think it's for a reason. I think it's because a lot of folks like to think of CS and CX as cost centers.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of as profit centers, which is wrong, because there is nothing more effective at growing revenue than keeping your customers happy.
Clip that one, folks. Turn your CX into a profit center. The LTV, let's talk about it. Well,
Let's.
we're not going to. All right. So, Jake, why don't you give us kind of an overview of Aircall, what it is, what it does. We're going to do some best practices, and then we'll get into the demo side. Go ahead with Aircall.
Happily, yeah. So Aircall is a cloud-based phone system available on both desktop and mobile. We're specifically designed for sales teams, ranging from give or take 3 users to about 500 users. We were founded in 2014 and have since grown to over 800 employees. The whole time always integrations are at our core, and we have many integrations, many that we love, but I'll venture to say none that we love more than HubSpot. Um,
Yes.
Given the similarity in values and ICP, and that everyone using a CRM or help desk needs to talk to their customers, it's made a lot of sense to grow together. And we have to the point where we are now and have been for quite some time, the #1 phone and SMS integration on the HubSpot marketplace. 40
Woohoo!
It's definitely huge. Over 4,500 customers in common, over 4 times the number of installs as the next closest competitor. We really do love HubSpot, and try to, in many ways, model what we do after them. This kind of tightness has led to them actually investing in us. HubSpot investing their own money into Aircall in February, which, what's better than that? And then even more recently, we announced a strategic partnership with HubSpot, putting us among the select few partners to achieve that status. So it's been a really exciting time for the relationship.
It's exciting also for Sprocketeers. Jake has extended a promo. Those of you listening, mention Sprocketeer when you sign up for a new Aircall account, and you'll get 2 months free on an annual contract. So
Sure will.
sign up for a new Aircall, mention Sprocketeer, 2 months of that annual contract free to use. Thanks,
Exactly.
Jake and the Aircall team.
Absolutely.
So strategic partner, integrated #1, continue to grow. There are more things. This is, I don't know now, #4. In 2023, Jake, those of you listening, look out. There are new updates Jake was telling me about before. We can't talk about now. But once they come out, we'll be doing a demo of those as well, so that you can integrate more of your systems into Aircall, and you're not having to, again, multi-integration. You can now just use Aircall.
Exactly. Consolidation, but that's for another time.
Another time. All right, best practices then. Let's hear about some CX quick tips.
Yes. So these are some best practices and quick tips for anyone who is who are managing customers, active customers over the phone. Should be pretty widely applicable. #1, your support line should be really easy to find. It should be on the first page of your website. If someone's looking to call in for a support reason, it's probably pretty urgent, and every minute it takes them longer to find that number, they're probably going to be a little bit less thrilled. So make it easy to find. #2 is going to be consider adding a priority number for your VIP customers. They're your VIP customers for a reason. If you have the ability to have them wait less, then I think you should do that, my opinion. #3, track time to first contact, not just time to resolution of any support tickets. This is something that HubSpot does so well. Famously, you see people post all the time on LinkedIn of how they called in and HubSpot answered in 15 seconds. This is something that was really hard to do. Something we should all strive for, because the moment a customer is talking to a real person, they're going to feel like that problem being solved is already, on the way.
Mm-hmm.
So
just taken care of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Finally, the last one is going to be avoid missed calls at all cost. When you do miss those support calls or those CX calls, that's when they go to Twitter. We've all seen it. We all want to avoid it. You don't want some angry tweets popping up when someone Googles your company, taking over your SEO. So
you don't want to be trending in that way.
Exactly. So do your best to pick up the phone.
Love it. Thanks for those. And those of you listening, feedback in the comments or tweet or on LinkedIn. Reach out to Jake or Aircall. Let them know what we missed. What do we need to add to this list that you do on your CX team that really makes sure and ensure that you are creating a great experience? What industry are you in that you have maybe some specifics that specifically you need to do? I'd love to hear some feedback there.
Absolutely, please do.
All right, Jake. So we're going to switch over. We're going to give Jake the floor. He's going to give us a demo. And so I'm going to pull down my screen and Jake's going to put his up. While he's doing that, what Jake, those of you listening, is going to do is he's going to go through the CX from two perspectives. The first is going to be on the manager's side. What should the managers be thinking about as far as setup when it comes to CX? And then he's going to switch over to the agent side. And from that perspective, what should you have set up for an agent? What should they be thinking about when it comes to CX? We'll come back, recap the best practices, and we'll end it out. All right, Jake, I can see your reporting screen.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you for that overview. Let's dive into it.
Awesome.
So this is Aircall. Aircall is going to be in two pieces. On the left here, we're going to have the phone app. This is available on desktop as a desktop app here, in browser, on mobile, iOS, Android. If you need to take calls on the go, it's all tracked back to HubSpot no matter what, so no fear. And on the right, we're going to have the admin dashboard. This is where we'll have, of course, stats analytics, live call monitoring, setup number routing, purchase new numbers, set up your integration, all of it that we'll get into from the admin side. Mm-hmm. And this is actually where we're going to begin today. Kicking things off in numbers and routing. First decision here is, do we have existing numbers or do we want to purchase new ones? Either way, we got you covered. Mm-hmm. Once we're in there, these are the first decisions you're going to have to make in setting up support CX. We're talking inbound, generally speaking, unless they're submitting tickets and we're calling into them outbound. But that side's, a little bit easier and mostly on the HubSpot side anyways. So we're talking about an inbound phone line here. Now, with any phone number, you're going to have to decide, do we want it to be a classic number, so to speak, that, someone calls in and immediately starts ringing, or do we want an IVR or interactive voice response, auto attendant, some people call it, which is where we'll start off. So once we procure our number, we're going to dive into this call flow here. From here, we'll be able to choose our business hours, record a message. We can do text to speech, record one right in through here. And this is where we'll put our press 1 for sales, press 2 for support, that type of stuff. Here we have quite a few options. If you want to add another one, we're just going to click here and do that. Easy enough?
Yeah. So you can route to a direction or a mode you want it to go to, or a team, if I remember right. And so set up that routing on the front end of how you want it.
Exactly. Go to an external number wherever. But always recommend having an IVR, even if it's just one person answering the phone. It's just going to make your business look a lot more professional. Right. So can't recommend it enough. From there, we'll have a few things to point out. Call recording. Here we are. Yes. This is life and death for so many reasons. One, if you're not recording your calls, then you already know that you have 10 phone calls a week that you forget or struggle to remember, right. And just consider starting doing that. It's going to make your CX a lot better off the bat. From there, we're going to decide, do we want call recording to start automatically? Do we want that to change on inbound calls versus outbound calls? What's your state's laws on recording? All good things to know. Or do we trust your agent enough to give them the ability to pause and play? So we'll have those options here.
Set recording for your calls.
Exactly. Now, once they made their decision through the IVR, they're going to go into what we call a classic number. Here again, we'll set our business hours, welcome message, waiting music. And then from here, we'll go into our routing rules. Of course, we have sales teams here. Probably going to have support teams in this use case, but that's okay. Mm-hmm. We'll be able to set up users as well as teams, which are just groups of users for routing purposes. Here
Okay.
we have it ringing to the UK sales, starting off on longest saddle, so basically who's ever been laziest gets the next one. Before going to the US sales, it'll ring them all at once. We could also have it ring randomly, choose how long we want it to ring for. Really choose what you want that customer experience to be every time they call in. And then we always have our backups, which is always important. As I mentioned, make sure it's not going to voicemail.
Right.
If you want to add someone new, it's going to be simple as drag and drop.
Oh,
Bits in
nice.
real time.
And the order. Okay.
Exactly. If it was,
Easy to add in, easy to rearrange.
I wouldn't say it was easy if it wasn't actually really easy. So I can do it. Anyone can, as I say.
I have all my people there, but let's say this is like a priority line. How do I do that, Jake?
It's a fantastic question. So from here, we'll go into our settings and just toggle that on. And now it's a priority line. This phone line is going to be prioritized over other phone lines and go to the top of the queue for any agents that are in either multiple, which for any sizable support team is probably going to be the case.
So is that ignoring all of that priority you set and just going to the next available person?
Yeah, so it's more that it's more about the users and the agents and the teams on the lines itself. If they're on, say they're on multiple, anyone calling into that phone number will be prioritized in the routing rules.
Received.
And that agent will receive, an agent on that line will receive that a call from that line before any other lines that they're on.
Understood. Thanks for that.
Of course. It's an important one. We love to say all customers are created equal, but
All right, so we took the call. The right person got it. What do you do kind of afterwards? Is there anything that we need to make sure happens?
So now that we've set up our phone numbers, our agents are almost ready to start taking calls. The last thing we want to do is think about tagging. There are a lot of words for this: tagging, dispositions, call marking. But really what it is we're going to want to start thinking about what are the call outcomes that we want to track. First and foremost, from a reporting standpoint, what are the call outcomes that we want to be able to track? Come back to pull reports on all of that good stuff. And then on top of that, what workflows and automations do we want to set up? But that'll be on the HubSpot side a little bit later.
I think this is my favorite feature, Jake. I get giddy about the tags and the call outcomes. It's such a helpful tool to have in your toolbox.
100%. 100%. There's the possibilities are genuinely endless, and a little too endless here. We have a few too many tags, but that's
okay. So you can set tags, and then you can choose those after the call. As far as managers go, there's a feature that we really like that you've shown, which is you're able to set whether the call tagging is mandatory or not, right?
Yes, exactly. Let's dive back in here. On any phone number, we're going to be able to mark call tagging as mandatory. And what that means is that the agent cannot move on to the next call without leaving a tag. So no more bypassing, no more putting in all this work to set up your tags and dispositions, only to have your agents bypass and just not do it. Probably not their fault. These things are tough.
Right,
like salespeople, it's putting things into the CRM. These things are never easy. So
I think you guys put mandatory call tagging on the line because the line is the activity, the business activity that you've run through this line, or that you're accepting rather back through this line. Is it a priority that this line has tags? Yes or no? It doesn't matter who's taking it, because this is the business we're running back through this line. I love that you've situated it there.
Exactly. Well said. Well said. We just need to be able to have an understanding of what is happening and when. So
Right. Right.
this will let us do that.
All right.
Awesome. Moving on here to some stats and analytics.
Yeah. What's going
So
on? What are they doing?
now that we're making some calls, let's find out at a high level what's going on here. This is our kind of our entry level analytics page, but we'll be able to give you a pretty good in-depth look. Not only how many calls are happening, who's making them, are SLAs being met, but also why are we missing calls? Are calls
Love
coming
this.
in that are outside of business hours? Okay, maybe consider changing your business hours. I love that recommendation. That one's a little more out there, uh, but
Simplifying your
if
IVR. I'm reading.
exactly if calls are if you're missing calls because no user is available, it's probably a good time to add more users. Figure out your staffing there. But yeah, we can get more in depth here. Don't want to bore you too much. We can get all of this in HubSpot as well, which I'll show you in a bit.
Great. Great. And those stages and those steps and then the tags afterwards, all of those settings you did on the line, you get to know where they missed, where they're firing, for how long. And like you said in the tips, Jake, the time to connect, not just the resolution. That's also tracked.
Exactly. And we can build that in HubSpot, which I'll show you. It's really cool. Here we are in the activity feed. This is live call monitoring. We were just in historic analytics. These are live analytics. We able to monitor SLAs in real time, see our available agents in queue, listen to calls that are happening that were recorded, and listen into live calls. So we see Rachel is actually on a call here with other Rachel. If I wanted to, I could click this coach button, listen in, join from either an incognito mode, and let no one know I'm joining and just listen in, or let Rachel know that I'm joining and can talk to Rachel here without other Rachel hearing what I'm saying. So,
what a great feature to be able to have the option to jump in.
Exactly. Manager's dream, agent's nightmare. It's, it's what it is. Awesome. One last note here is everyone's favorite topic, the HubSpot integration and the settings. Let's dive into it. First and foremost, we'll always mention the HubSpot integration takes 5 clicks to set up. I've counted. It's true.
That's what I'm talking about.
Clicks.
5 clicks and you're in.
Exactly. From there, we get to choose which phone numbers we want to add. Maybe we have different teams that we want different settings, set up multiple integrations. But the thing I really want to highlight here is ticket creation. So we're fully integrated into Service Hub. And what that means is on any call type, we're going to get to choose which pipeline we want tickets being created in. And then based on call type, for missed call, maybe we only want missed calls with voicemails automatically creating tickets. If so, what do we want that to be set as? Same thing for any other type of call or type of SMS. Those calls will also all log into your tickets, of course, which I'll show you.
That's great.
Down here, we're going to have a few more key settings here. Automatic contact creation on in HubSpot, so you don't have to create 100 new contacts a day. Turn it on, turn it off. Who do we want these contacts assigned to? All of that good stuff.
So, all the things you want and more.
Exactly.
Right inside HubSpot.
Exactly. Awesome. That is about it from the dashboard side. From here, it's time to dive into the phone app and into HubSpot.
All right, agents, those of you listening, this is for you.
This is for you. Starting off over here in our to-do section, Aircall is built for a collaboration. This can be your personal inbox, a shared inbox, depends if you have shared numbers or your own number. But here we're going to see any calls that I've missed, voicemails, calls that are assigned to me are all going to live here. As an example, my colleague Bianca spoke to someone. From here, I'll be able to click in, dive into their profile on HubSpot. Definitely none of those other ones. And listen to the recording here, see what notes Bianca took, any tags, and I'll be able to follow up appropriately. Just makes working as a team so much easier.
Right.
So
thank you, Aircall.
Diving over here, we have our call history. Not super exciting. A little more exciting, though, is SMS and texting. SMS is going to be free, included, limited on all plans, and it's all going to track back into HubSpot as well.
Yes.
And as I mentioned, can also automatically create tickets. So
okay,
there's that. Final note is, as a user, I can be associated to multiple phone numbers, as we've discussed. So if there's a different phone number that I wanted to dial out of, could do so with a click. So with that, we're going to dive into an inbound phone call. I'm going to go ahead and give myself a call from my cell phone here. So the situation here is that a current customer is calling in. That customer happens to be Jimmy. And from here, we're going to have access to all our caller insights off the bat, know exactly who we're talking to, which of the phone numbers he's calling into, as well as any deals that we have open. If I had ticket creation on, which I don't right now, that ticket would automatically be created as well. But I'll show you what that call log looks like in there regardless, fear not. So now, before picking up the call, we have access to all of our prior information here. We know exactly who Jimmy is. We can see our past, we can see our tickets, our open deals, our past tickets, all of that good stuff at our fingertips. From here, we'll have our in-call features, our mute or hold or keypad for IVRs and extensions, our recording, all of our notes, as I talk to Jimmy and figure out what is going on. And, of course, our tags.
Yes.
Of course, we're going to pick two random ones here. Don't read
Grant's
into
favorite.
it. And this is all this information is going to flow into HubSpot, of course. Down here, we'll have our collaboration features. So our transfer, I'll be able to see which of my teammates are available, transfer to entire teams, internal, external. Maybe it comes into support, but it should be talking to sales. I can just send it over to the sales team and let them handle it because it's their problem. So,
all right. So those of you listening closely, Sprocketeers listening right now, pause and accept how cavalier Jake was that all of this is going to transfer over into HubSpot. No copy paste, no endpoints, no workflows. All of the experiences that you are on a call, the notes, the tags, the transfers, the numbers, the inbound, all of that will be in HubSpot.
Thank you. Sometimes it's easy to forget, how lucky we are sometimes. But yeah, we're gonna bring over a lot of data. It's gonna be quite a bit in multiple places, as custom properties, in call notes, everywhere. We're gonna make it as easy as possible to extract as much data out of your phone system as possible within HubSpot. One last note here in call is we'll also have call conferencing, of course. So I can add internal, external, teammates, all of that to the call, add them to the call separately. All of it there.
Awesome.
Sweet.
So you could do all that stuff. Yeah. Please.
Do all of it on the call. Exactly. Now that we exit out, we'll see this call logs created, and now that we have hung up, that information is going to start to flow over. It'll take about 30 seconds, but we don't have that kind of time. So here's an existing one. Here we'll have our inbound call answered by JTagon. On JTagon, the name of the phone number, by JTagon, the name of the user. They just happen to be the same here. We'll have our notes and comments here, as well as our tags. We'll have a recording, This logs as a link that stores by default on our AWS servers. This storing the recording in this way allows us to be HIPAA, SOC 2, GDPR, and PCI compliant. If it was storing as an MP3 in HubSpot, we wouldn't be able to do or claim any of that. So
Fantastic.
that's why we do it. And our Aircall call ID for troubleshooting, of course. We're also going to fill out your HubSpot native fields down here for you. Our duration, direction, call outcome, all of that.
What's nice, Jake, as you look here in the activity feed in HubSpot, all of that information on that call is contained in that activity. Also, though, it's contained there because those properties were updated elsewhere in HubSpot. You've pulled them all together for that activity, but then also as you go and use those properties have been updated as well. It's
exactly.
It lives in both spots because you're just showing us the activity based on the call.
Exactly. So we have to have it all in one spot, right? On the call engagement record, which I've refreshed now, so we see all this is pulled over. But that's not enough. We need custom properties as well, because it just makes our lives easier. And for all the partners out there, you know how much more you can do with custom properties or with properties in general than you can with the notes on a record. So. As I mentioned, we have our tags not only here, but here in our last use Aircall tags field. This is, of course, going to be helpful for reporting, but also for workflows. Maybe we don't want ticket creation on by default, but we want to do it via a tag. Pretty easy to set that up. Your rep's is on it. Your rep is mid call to decide that a ticket needs to be created. You have a create ticket tag. You enter that in. And you bust out your workflow to have that created automatically. We have a tutorial to do that if anyone's interested. So. We'll have a few others here as well. Our last Aircall call outcome based on the HubSpot native call outcome field, our timestamp field, and a last use Aircall phone number field, which I just don't have in here. These will all re-enroll on every call. So you can enroll contacts in the same workflow multiple times in different workflows. You're not stuck with whatever you picked on the first call, which is nice.
That's great.
So
all the information back over into HubSpot.
Exactly. As I mentioned, SMS is going to be logged as well. See it all here on the record. Pretty simple, not a ton to say there. We've seen the call record on the contact record. It's also going to log on the company record, on the deal record, and on the ticket record. I didn't have ticket creation on here, so this will probably be an older one, but just to prove it, there we are.
Nice.
It will log to all four.
And so those are based on the associations, Jake?
Yes, I believe the company and deal are based on association. Ticket, I think, is actually built into the integration.
Heard. Okay. So the association's made, the activity will also be there, so you don't have to feel like, well, I wonder if there's some conversation happening over here on the contact that maybe I'm not seeing. You will see that activity that's associated with the deal, and any contacts on that deal, you'll see those activities with those contacts, which is great. If you don't know that there's maybe a sales call going on, or if there was an inbound call that was unexpected, you'll see that on the deal. That's great visibility into the latest with the deal or with the ticket in this case.
100%. And you might think, like, I'm mentioning a lot of we're talking through a lot of minutia here, and you might think, well, like, of course it does that. There's a reason why we're mentioning it. These are things that we've sort of thought of and built into the integration that most don't do. That's why we're mentioning it. We've really thought through how HubSpot users actually work day to day and tried to make sure that we serve them as best as possible. So we went through an inbound call. We also have outbound click to call. Pretty straightforward here. We do it via browser extension, so not just in HubSpot, but anywhere on the internet. We don't need to go like from the contact record in here and like create a call. It can be like from a list or from a ticket, something like that, or from a form submission. Right. If there's a phone number, just click, make that call.
All right.
Sweet. One last thing to run through here is going to be reporting.
Yes.
The good
What's
stuff.
been going on? What are we doing and how we doing?
Exactly.
So just like any good admin knows, when you are looking at reports, your goal is to be answering questions. So you can build those questions. You can build those reports around questions on activity, including SMS, including calls. And one that Jake called out early again, it's worth mentioning again, is making sure that you are tracking first to contact, not just resolution.
Exactly. So I showed you a lot of reporting capabilities within Aircall, but we know that HubSpotters want to work out of HubSpot. So try to enable that as much as physically possible here.
There you go.
We have a lot of good stuff here in terms of just examples of call reporting that you can build out here. We have tutorials for all of this. Fear not.
Let's call a couple out, Jake. So call outcomes. Okay, my favorite based on the tags. You can see just a simple bar chart of those call outcomes. I think it was up on the left here.
Oh, there we are. Yes.
Yep. Right there.
Yeah. None of these numbers will charts will make any sense. By the way, it's a demo account, so
No, it's totally fine. Seeing the call outcomes. Well, we have connected, left voicemail, no answer. Do you have the tags too?
Yes,
that would be another one.
Yep. So number of calls with specific specific tags. This one, we filtered for only outbound. We can get pretty granular based on what's going on here.
Gotcha.
And the exciting one I mentioned, time to first contact. These are things that are like, these are the type of SLAs that I know are often tricky to measure in HubSpot. So we're really, really thrilled that we using our custom properties are able to build things out like this. So we have some calculated properties as well in here, but this will be the best way to make sure that your phone agents are staying within your SLAs.
It's awesome. And specifically that is the average time to first contact. You're already showing us how you can leverage this information.
Exactly. And super actionable. Lastly, because why not? We got the whole dashboard. Your eyes do not deceive you. This is just the entire Aircall dashboard that I showed you. Oops, there you go. That I showed you earlier, but just in a HubSpot report.
So why not? You can put the whole thing here in HubSpot.
Exactly. Why ever leave HubSpot? So that's what we say. So we're doing our best to enable that. Anything that I forgot, left out?
You covered the manager side, you covered the agent side. On the agent side, we went all the way from dialing and receiving an inbound call, all the tagging, and now you can log. You see that in HubSpot, and then you can report on all those actions. I think you got it.
Yeah, and what is the accumulation of all this? It's a better customer experience. When a customer calls in, what does it look like? Are they, are you spending 2 minutes figuring out who they are and why they're calling in? Or do you already know? Do they already, then when you call in as a customer, do they already know who you are, make you feel valued, remember the last conversation, have all the notes on hand?
Yeah.
These are the things that matter.
Yeah, especially for CX. It's, look, what's happened, what's gone on, what activities have occurred, so that when they do call in, you want to create the sense of knowing and show up to that call for that customer with the experience they've had, so they're not having to continue to repeat themselves. And what was the last issue, and who'd you transfer from? You have
Nothing's
all
worse
that
than that.
information here. Ugh, agreed.
Well, sweet. I'll go
Yeah.
ahead and stop sharing here.
All right, so that concludes Aircall Masterclass as we're going over customer experience, phone system setup. There is a tutorial article that we'll link down on YouTube in the description on how to go through an automated settings via tags that Aircall has put together. Also, just a reminder, those of you listening here at the end, sign up for a new Aircall account, and on a 1-year contract, you'll get 2 months for free. Just mention Sprocketeer.
Mention Sprocketeer.
Thank you, Jake, for running us through another masterclass.
Thank you so much for having me again. It's always a pleasure.
Awesome. Sprocketeers listening, thank you so much for being here. And until next time, spinny spinny.